Good day, everyone. Scott Lane, Principal Solutions Architect for Citrix Central US, and have quite a treat here today in our user groups. We're joined by Nick Kinnan from Pella Corporation in Pella, Iowa, to talk about the journey to Zen Desktop or Zen Desktop 7 Apps Edition, basically your Zen App 7 of today, if you will. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks
for
having me.
Well, we appreciate it. And first of all, I want to call out to everybody that you were a presenter, a co-presenter for us at Citrix Synergy. And I don't know if you know this or not, Nick, but your session on making the move to ZenApp 7.5 was one of the top attended sessions at Synergy. I don't know if you knew that or not. Did you know that?
Well, I kind of figured that based on the turnout. It was we had, I think, 3 rows of standing room only, so it was pretty impressive and a little daunting.
Well, Nick did a great job, obviously, but we'll share some of what he shared with them here today. And I guess that's my first question for you, Nick. Tell us a little bit about Pella Corporation. And I understand that IT is really critically important to Pella and the business there, so that's why this migration couldn't be taken lightly.
Sure. Yeah. Pella Corp is a 90-year-old company. We're celebrating our 90th anniversary next summer. We're a family-owned private company. We've got roughly 3,500 computers in the environment. We started doing Citrix about, maybe a year and a half ago, and we're sitting right now at about just over 350 concurrent users. But we pride ourselves on innovation and also safety. So we want to be cutting edge on technology, but at the same time, we don't want to risk the business. So IT plays a big role in that, and we're a key driver on integrating all of the different areas of the business and providing the right communication back to the business.
So that may be a good point to ask you. How is Citrix used at Pella, and what were the business drivers that brought you to Citrix and brought you to stay current with the latest version?
The biggest thing with Citrix for us was we saw an opportunity at our remote site. So Pella has, I think, 10 to 12 remote sales branches that prior to Citrix, we had those branches were managed by the remote IT staff, including the data centers. And we had a lot of variability from data center to data center, and it became really difficult for us to support that because the team that supports our data centers was mostly located in Pella. So we wanted to try to get those data centers back to Pella where it was easier for us to manage. We could provide more standardization, and we saw Citrix as a great opportunity for us to do that. As far as 7.1, we started with 6.5 about a year and a half ago. 7.1 came last fall. What we saw with 7.1 is, when we first rolled out ZenApp 6.5, we saw some performance issues, and it was consuming a lot of our time trying to track those down. And some of the performance monitoring stuff that comes with 7.1 was really exciting to us, and that's why we made the move to 7.1.
So I want to call that out for everybody who's watching in our user group. You were at 6.5, which was an IMA-based architecture, and then you made the move to 7, and then ultimately then right up to 7.1, and we called that, so everybody knows, Zen Desktop 7 Apps Edition. For all practical purposes, it's ZenApp, right?
Yes, yeah. The name got really confusing. We had a new hire start a couple months ago, and trying to explain to him what version we were on. So walked him through the history. We started on ZenApp 6.5, then we went to Zen Desktop App Edition 7, then we jumped to Zen Desktop App Edition 7.1, and now it's called ZenApp again. So the naming's been kind of fun.
So having run 6.5 and now running the 7.x, basically the new ZenApp, the FMA platform, what, Nick, do you like best about the new generation of ZenApp?
Well, there's a number of different things. Capturing images, we've got 12 different images in our environment. So when you capture an image with 7, you no longer have to be run through the wizard to take the machine off the farm. You just have to basically get the machine ready, and then you run your target device optimizer, and and shut it down and you're ready to go. So that's been nice. With those 12 images, we also publish a lot of apps. We've got 35 or so apps for each one of those images that we publish. And publishing apps is a lot easier with 7. You can import apps now. So when you create a new application, if you're comfortable with that in 6.5, there's a 5-step wizard. Well, with 7, it automates a lot of that stuff. So like the typing in the name, you don't have to do that anymore. It just pulls that in from the image. You no longer have to type in the command line or go hunting for the command line. Pulls all that information in. But it definitely saves some time when you have to do a lot of applications. And other stuff is monitoring. So we don't have the HDX Insight Center in place yet, but even the basic tools that come with Citrix Director have helped us troubleshoot a number of different things. One example is when we first moved to 7.1, we were experiencing some issues with slow login times, and we were able to use the director to narrow it down to a group policy setting that we basically had an Internet Explorer trusted sites group policy that was written with an ADM template from probably 2000, 2003, something like that. And just updated that policy, we were able to reduce our login times by about 30 seconds. So we took it from a minute to anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds.
So I'm sure your users were overjoyed when you found that group policy and sped up their login process, obviously.
Yeah. We were seeing some slow logins with 6.5 as well. It wasn't like it was a new problem to 7. So being able to shorten the login times was definitely a win for us and our users.
So, obviously, Nick, again, we appreciate you doing this for us. You're going to be, this interview is going to be seen by user groups across the Central. Many people are in the shoes that you were in last year. They may be sitting at XenApp 6, 6.5, maybe even 5. They're wanting to get to the new FMA architecture. What advice do you have for them before they embark on this journey?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we did when we moved is we engaged with a vendor that had a little bit more knowledge with Citrix than we did. We've, like I said earlier, we just started doing Citrix about a year and a half ago, and we definitely wanted to bring in some outside expertise. We used Choice Solutions out of Kansas City. They were great in helping us architect the 7 environment. Some other things that we did that were really beneficial is we built the 7 environment right next to our 6.5 environment. So, if we ran into something in 7 that wasn't quite behaving like we were seeing in 6.5, we could still refer back to those 6.5 images and see, okay, what did we, configure differently here, or what policies were different. So, it was really nice having that to fall back on, as well as, our users, if something wasn't working quite right in 7, we still had the 6.5 apps available to them that they could fall back to, so we weren't creating major outages or performance issues for our users while we were making that transition. So those were probably the biggest things that helped us with our transition.
Gotcha. Well, now the other thing that you mentioned at Synergy that I found very interesting, we're talking about it in all of our user groups. Since you've been to Synergy, I don't know if you've noticed the blogs have lit up about it, but you noticed some significant improvement in your IOPS performance with PVS 7.1, didn't you?
Yes, we did. So when we started with 6.5, we originally had our write cache from PVS writing to disk, and we saw performance was absolutely terrible writing to disk. So we, about a couple months into our 6.5 rollout, we switched to write to RAM and saw some significant benefits on 6.5 writing to RAM. But the kicker with writing to RAM is if the write cache exceeds that memory allotment, the servers basically blue screen or crash, and that was an issue for us. So what we did is, we typically saw write caches anywhere from a gig and a half to 2 gigs, and just to be safe, we were assigning 4 gigs of memory to that write cache for each one of our servers. Well, we have over 40 servers in our environment, and adding another 2 gigs to each server, that's a lot of memory.
Mm-hmm.
So when we upgraded to 7, we found there's a new option in PVS called write to RAM failover to disk. And what that allowed us to do is it allowed us to right size our write cache. So rather than assigning 4 gigs when we only typically needed 2, we could then assign 2, and if 2 got exceeded, it would then fail over to the disk. So the servers wouldn't crash. We might notice some slight performance downgrade, but it allows us to save a significant amount of memory. And the surprise to us when we did that, we figured we'd get the memory back, but what we noticed is when we did a disk test just to see, make sure performance didn't get worse, we actually saw that we doubled our IOPS throughput. So it was a really pleasant surprise for us.
One last question for you, Nick. One of the things you mentioned was that you found your environment to be far more reliable when you went to 7.x, and that's one of the things we're hearing a lot from our customers. They want to know about the reliability of the new platform. Can you share your experience with it?
Yeah. So what we saw after we upgraded, so we upgraded to 7 in the fall of last year, and right as we were getting ready to roll out 7, 7.1 came out. So we quick did a 7.1 upgrade before we put any users on the environment. But what we saw after we started putting users on is we had a period of several months after the rollout where it was just completely quiet. Overall, the reliability that we've seen going from 6.5 to 7.1 has been great. Our phone rings a lot less than it did in 6.5.
And that's awesome to hear. Well, one of the things I want to give a shout out to you, first of all, for not only speaking to our user group, but also being a very respected and very prominent speaker at Synergy this year, and also to Pella Corporation. For those who are seeing this and don't know, Pella's motto is the window to the world, or your window to the world, right? You guys are in the windows and door business, right?
Yep. We do basically any openings in any building. So it's not just residential. So we do windows and doors in the homes, but we also do commercial as well. So office buildings, things like that.
Well, Nick, listen, we really do appreciate you basically pulling the blinds open and giving us a window into your Zen app environment at Pella. And I know I speak on behalf of everybody watching this that we really do get a lot of good information when we share other customer experiences like this. So thank you for your time this morning.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, Scott.